We are back on some chest activity after a short break. You guys have not seen me here for a few days, but we are back like nothing ever happened. Oh, anyway, while I was away, what happened? Um, I got cooked. I got cooked by some hot metal, as you can see on my left hand over there. There's this pinkish spot. I got burned. I was doing some aluminum work, and then I'm grinding off. It is on a vice grip, so I have the aluminum metal on a vice grip, and then I'm working on it, and then I'm grinding off, and then I hit it because it's kind of trying to break away a chunk out. So there's a way that you do it. When you have two plates together, you have a bar behind them. So you weld in between, and then you take out the bar behind it, and then you bend the metal to see if your weld is intact. If it breaks, you fail the test. If it passes and is solid, smooth, with no nicks or anything, like the metal is one, it is joined together, then you pass. So I failed this test like 5 times. But anyway, I passed at a cost of some flesh. But we are back. And it is winter. So you already know what winter holds. It is hibernation season. But since we are not hibernating animals, it is time to prepare for the life to come when the sun shines, So right now, there's no sun. It is very cold. You have to warm up, Have to hop in the gym over here, move a lot, vibrate so that you can warm up, because I was walking the other day, walking outside, just chilling, and then I am shivering, I'm so cold, I'm shivering, and I look up. There's no clouds. It is completely clear sky, blue skies, and I look at the sun, and I'm wondering, this sun is just shining over there, I thought the sun should provide the warmth, the sun should provide the heat, but the sun is just there, shining, no heat, just light. And I'm like, what is wrong, sun? I asked the sun, I thought you were the one supposed to provide the heat. What is wrong? There is no heat I'm feeling. It is cold, I'm freezing. I'm almost dying. And the sun looked at me, and the sun told me, whatever I am made of, whatever essence that makes me shine and produce the warmth, is the same essence that you are made of and that keeps you going. So whatever keeps me going is the same thing that keeps you going. And I looked at the sun and I was like, so you mean if you cannot provide the warmth, I should now provide the warmth myself? And the sun looked at me and said, exactly. The sun said, do not search so hard on the external, Retreat, If I can produce the warmth, so can you. If I can shine, so can you. And I was like, son, you are not only the brightest, but the wisest. So, I am going to produce that warmth. Here in the gym, you guys are going to watch me. How warm I get. How bright I shine like the sun. They might even accuse me of global warming now. I might be the reason climate change is happening. The polar is melting. Because the boy over here is getting too warm, too hot. You can ask. If you ask the people around here in Alaska, you ask them, how was the winter last year? They will tell you. The winter was non-existent. Most of the snow melted so fast. It was rainy. It is because I am here. Oh my goodness. Anyway, some cable pulls. Actually, in these cable pulls, if you look on the right side, that weight is more than the left side. There's like a tiny black weight up there at the top of the stack that I forgot. I did not say it, so it was very imbalanced. You can see me changing my stance because I was trying to control that weight. It was so oh my God. I didn't even notice it until later on. I was like, that is why. But I caught it, and control is eminent. If whether the weight on one side is heavier than the other side, we capture both and take it as slow as we can and impose as much control as we can on those weights, on that ion. Anyway, I was reading this book. If you know me or if you do not know me, I'm a guy who likes speculation, ideas and stuff, like playing around with different ideas, seeing how different people, think. So I read a lot of books. Well, I'm in the process of reading books. But I came across this book, and there's this chapter of religious speculation. It is a book called History of Modern Philosophy, because philosophy is very interesting to me. I like it. Well, it is fun to read philosophers because most of the ideas that govern society today are philosophical ideas. So anyway, I will read for you something here on this book, and it was a very interesting speculation. But this guy is called Jacob Boehme. Oh my goodness, what name is this? Jacob Boehme. Boehme. I do not know how to pronounce that. So if you can pronounce that, well and good. I don't even know which country he is from. Actually, let me find out here. So I found out he's a German philosopher in the year 1500s to late 1500s to early 1600s. He died in like 1624. But a lot of philosophy came from Europe. Actually, philosophy is more of something that came from Europe in that area. German, France, come down to Spain, and yeah, that area. But anyway, so what was I was going to read this. Anyway, so I'm going to read Anyway, and he solves the first problem. So this is his segment. This is his segment on this book of History of Modern Philosophy. His segment is called Religious Speculation because Jacob Boehm was like a Christian guy, philosopher, kind of theologian. He is actually a Lutheran Protestant theologian. Anyway, so it says he solves this first problem, which arises because the world of matter is so great and the world of spirit so small and so distant, by means of the thought that God's power and essence move in all things, in us as well as in the outer masses. God is not sundered from nature, but is relevant to it as the soul to the body. Heaven is not up there in the sky, but it is here within thyself, where the divine life stirs within thee. God is not far, thou livest in God, and God in thee, and if thou art pure and holy, then thou art God. There stir within the same powers as in God and the whole of nature. Fire, air, water, earth, all is God. You know, what do they say? Omnipresence. So, if you are looking somewhere other than within, then I am afraid the search is endless. It is as vast, because as without, so within. And it is very recently that we know how vast the without is. We know how space stretches as far as it goes. 2 billion galaxies, billions of stars, trillions of planets. So as vast as and wide as the outside is, that is the same on the inside level. Consciousness is just as vast. So a wise man once said, I searched for myself and found God. And when I searched for God, I found myself. So you can digest that. Actually, if you think of thoughts as biological, think of a human being as a biological organism, you have to kind of put the same process into thought. Thought is not mere it is not mere mambo jumbo up there in the mind, in the space. If it is in the mind, if it is in the brain, the mind is not in the brain. It is, the brain is much more a how do I say this, a product of the mind. So thoughts are very much biological. So you have to break down words, break down thought, consume it, and dispense whatever you do not need. So consume stuff, consume a lot, that thought as it arises, break it down, digest it, absorb all the nutrients, and then discard anything that is not useful. Because a lot of thoughts give us a clue to who we are. Because if you're like me, sometimes you get some thoughts and you're like, why am I even thinking that? Oh my goodness. You get some thoughts and you're like, go away. Get out of my head. So, but every thought has, I believe, something, a clue to actuality, to reality. So, break them down, take what is useful, and discard what you feel like does not really help you, because as much as we are different physically, we are different mentally. Some people are lactose intolerant, some people cannot eat gluten, some people cannot eat avocados like me. I just do not like the taste of avocados. What do they even taste like? They're so terrible, they're so taste. Alright, anyway, so we have different physical preferences and like things we cannot tolerate, physically. It is the same mentally. Mentally, there's some thoughts that you just cannot tolerate. You're just like you cannot. You try to think about it, it just cannot. When you think about some certain thoughts, it is like you get an allergic reaction. you know, you get sick a little bit. Yeah, that is where mental illness maybe comes in, because some people cannot handle some thoughts. Because how many times have you asked yourself, hey, why do you even do that? You see someone doing something and you're like, what? How do you even think like that? You just wonder. You just like, those are actually the actual thoughts that you think on a daily basis, because our outward life is just a product of our inward thoughts and whatnot. It all starts from the thought into action, action into reality, action into you. You are the action. So, know what thoughts you are allergic to, and know what thoughts that you like the taste of, and you just keep moving. Because once you know the nature of that, I feel like you might be in a better place. And what is actually never even talked about that. I've actually learned all that, because most of these things are just in your mind. And it is not until you speak them and then you're like, Anyway, so the chest day is almost a wrap. With the triceps also, we hit some triceps. But you will see major transformation with this guy if he's serious. If it goes consistent, because we are of the same DNA, same genes, but I'm made of, he's made of. So if you want to see the transformation of that young man, go spam him. Find him wherever you can. On social media or whatever. And spam him and be like, yo, go to the gym. We want that transformation. But trying to squeeze the last reps here. Ooh. Beautiful. I will see you when you see me.